Welcome back, everybody, to That's Good Anime. Everyone's finally settled down. There's a lot of discord, a lot of interrupting just now.
Airing of
A lot of
grievances.
airing of grievances, yes. But we're ready to talk about some anime. I think we like anime, so we're going to talk about it. Today we're going to talk about 2004's Paranoia Agent, which was recommended by me. And then our long form anime is going to be Cowboy Bebop, which the wheel decided, but was Alex's decision, our choice. So let's just jump into it. So I suggested Paranoia Agent. I used to watch this on Adult Swim back in the day, like when it first aired on there. And it used to leave me creeped out at night because it'd be like on at 11 or 12. I was a young Jared, and
that end song and that beginning song, honestly.
Well, you start off with the beginning song and you're unsettled, and then the ending song you're scared because there's a big pink scary thing. But I always remember like loving it when I was watching it. I don't remember why, because there's some more mature themes in here that I don't think I even caught when I was younger. But I remember just loving the animation, the art, and just the style. And of course, it's directed by Satoshi Kon, who directed Perfect Blue, Paprika, if you've seen those. So yeah, that's why I recommended this one. I wanted you guys... I think most of you have seen it. I think Alex is the only one who hasn't seen it. So I wanted to share it with you guys. So the first episode... Oh, no. So I'll just tell you what I thought about it. Pretty much the same as when I was a young Jerry. I love the art, the animation. I even love the story. I don't remember it getting so kind of vague at the end. I always remembered it kind of concise throughout the whole anime, but now seeing it those last 4 or 5 episodes, it gets a little more vague because it's telling kind of, not only are you seeing the victims and who it affects, the little slugger like attacks, but you see its influence throughout the world, and the effects on just like people adjacently affected by it. So I pretty much just skipped over talking about what it's about. It's about, in Tokyo, there's some, like, they're more like attacks from what eyewitnesses say, a little boy with golden skates and a golden bat, and they eventually dub him the little slugger. The first attack is on a graphic design artist who designed this small mascot character named Moromi. She got pretty famous from this, and Moromi is huge. It's like if you designed Pikachu, basically.
And Hello Kitty at the same time.
Yeah.
I think Hello Kitty's pretty apt.
We open up on her, and she's kind of stressed out because her higher ups are like, we need another one. We need another great design to get huge like Moromi. Even though it feels like Moromi's still blowing up.
Yeah, so, that's what I didn't get. I'm like, why do you need a new one?
I guess to be prepared when the drop off hits, they can just cycle in this new one. But it would seem a little fast since it was still growing. But so she's just under pressure at work, and it's starting to boil over. And during her walk home, she gets attacked by a little slugger.
And thus starts the show, really.
And the next episodes is you start to see a pattern. People are just stressed to a limit of it boiling over. They're freaking out. And then once it hits like a maximum point, little slugger appears and attacks them.
Knocks them the fuck out.
The side of their like the product of this is like afterwards they feel relieved. They feel like that little slugger actually helped them. And so we follow two detectives trying to figure out this whole shenanigans, as Chris would say. And they're just interviewing different victims and getting any kind of information on Little Slugger as they can. And like I was saying, throughout the anime, you see what it does to the victims, what it does to their families, and then eventually it spirals into how it affects Tokyo. And it's almost the same. It parallels the fascination and growth of Moromi. So it's kind of, they're parallel to each other of how it spreads and how it gets big and how people talk about it and how rumors start and how it gets embellished and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna let someone else talk because I hate hearing myself talk too much, but I really do enjoy this anime. I like how vague it can get because I do love more vague stories and how you can interpret it the way you want. And I think this anime does it almost perfectly because it does give you some answers and it does show you enough to like give you a full story, but there's always that little bit of doubt that you're like, was Little Slugger real? Did this stuff actually happen? So, yeah, I really love this anime, and I want to hear what Chris thinks about this anime.
Chris is not sure what he thinks about this anime.
That's
No,
it.
actually, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I kind of like the message that it presents. Kind of like the overarching like moral of the story is like, don't run away from your problems. Escape is not the answer. You kind of have to face it, you know. And I personally love whenever they just like they're like, hey, yeah, for this episode, we're just gonna go in a completely different fucking direction, you know. And I do think we're allowed to do spoilers, right?
Yeah.
So I do like the ending where like, so the first story, it's like, what's her face? And she kind of like propels the story, but then it goes to like everyone else. But then at the end, you figure out like, it's like, she is still at the center of all of this, you know? And like, kind of like you said, the Moromi thing is kind of the same problem that the Little Slugger is. It's like, it's escapism at its finest. But then like, there's a small apocalypse because of it. Just a little one.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
It gave me definite like Akira vibes, or the end of Night of Short Walk On Girl gets like that, where it's like you've got like everything is falling apart at the seams, you know. And I love that whenever it's like it starts out very small, girl gets attacked by an unknown assailant, and by the end you've got just evil black sludge tearing the city apart. It's a fun kind of a dynamic because you just don't expect it to get that big from the base story. There were definitely some parts in the middle that I'm like, okay, they're being purposefully vague and purposely confusing because they don't know exactly where to go next with this. Like you feel like they were like stalling. But I do think all in all, like the overarching story and kind of like you said, like the characters are really well done. Some like they've all got real problems, not like fake cartoon problems, which is kind of nice to see a lot more of that internal struggle. But yeah, I liked it.
I think a standout episode was the one when they're actually interrogating the Little Slugger or who they think they got.
Oh yeah,
and it turns into that like fantasy, kind of RPG. I thought that was a really like creative way to go through like an interrogation or trying to get the information of what the suspect had instead of just getting like straight dump. It went through like a little story of its own.
Yeah, they kind of saw stuff from his perspective.
Yeah.
Just to give him a chance to catch up from the last like 4 podcasts. Alex, how did you feel about this?
What do you mean catch up from the last 4 podcasts?
We specifically checked even before this. We're like, hey, do you remember this one? And you're like, I remember this one. I was like, okay.
Oh, yeah. I was like, did you guys do 4 podcasts without me?
Yes.
Rapid sequence.
Yes, we did, technically.
I think this show is awesome. Like, this show is really, really awesome. Like, this may be my favorite that we've watched. Either this or that ping pong show. Like, this show is so good. Like Jared said, I love the deviations. Because at first, whenever they did that first episode that wasn't her, I thought it was just a one-off and they were going to get right back to her. But it takes, like, the whole show to do that. Which I loved. Like, I loved, like Jared said, the RPG. This show just really had fun just taking its liberties. And yeah, that episode. And then there's the trio of guys, or the 2 guys and the little girl episode that was fun. It's such a like truly unique premises, like within a truly unique premise of a show. And like, 'cause, you know, a lot of times one-offs can be like, all right, whatever, like that one wasn't that interesting, but every single one was to me like yeah, that episode with the trio was like such a unique episode where they're all like trying to kill each other or kill themselves, and they keep failing. It's like a Mr. Bean episode, but darker. Like, and yeah, that was fantastic. I think that the last 2 episodes of this show are freaking stunning. Like, it's basically like Batman. Like, they even have music that sounds like the animated series. For that guy with the cape when he's like on the rooftop.
Oh, yeah.
And then he leaps from the back of that van onto that other van type thing, and on the van it says like Bat Express or whatever. And anything that you reference Batman animated series, I'm gonna love. At least to me, that's what it seemed to me, is that it was referencing that. But but yeah, the whole last episode, 2 episodes were stunning. I'm like, how are you introducing this other character who he thinks he's kind of like that little slugger kid or whatever, thinks he's a superhero that's doing good. You introduce this other character at the very end of the show, and I freaking love him. Like, how are you doing this?
I mean, he's technically not a new character.
Is he? Did I just not remember him? That's possible. We all know that's possible.
He's the detective's partner.
Detective. Yeah.
Oh, he was.
He was the one who was always like, he started going into the fantasies with the kid or whatever and started playing into them just so he could get more answers. Yeah. No, that was him. I was
wondering the whole time. I was like, how does he know the detective? Oh my gosh, that makes it even cooler. That is awesome. Anyway, so I had a theory, and by the end of the show, I was like, I'm probably not right, but I thought it was interesting, where I had a theory that little slugger is like a metaphor for like suicide. But I was trying to remember at the end of the show, I was like, did everyone die that he attacked? Because like
no, most of them didn't.
Most of them didn't. Well, at the end of the show, they definitely did at the end of the show. There was like animators dying left and right. But I guess because I know the girl didn't, but I thought that's because she lied about it. And then I can't remember if that.
Well, they all wake up in a hospital. Like, you see the
boy, you see her,
the tutor, the
kids,
the reporter guy, the dude with the daughter situation.
Yeah. Well, okay, then I guess it could still be. It could be attempted suicide.
Yeah, it can still. Yeah.
And never mind. I'll let you finish.
Yeah, it can be a metaphor. It doesn't mean they have to die. It just means like the escapism, as Chris was saying.
Yeah, I think I was only thinking that because in the later episodes, they seemingly did die. Especially with that one episode with that useless animator guy that was falling asleep at the wheel. Like, man, they did a good job of making that character unlikable. I was like, God, just like own up to your mistakes for once. Like, he was just blaming everyone for everything. And very fun character to hate.
The little detail in that episode where it's like everybody kept dying, but nobody fucking cared. Like, the person would be like, oh, yeah, they're dead. Okay.
Yeah.
Grab their shit and move on. And it's like, literally 90% of the crew is dead now, and nobody's like, "Hey, what's going on here?"
That's what I was wondering too. If it was like kind of referencing suicide in Japan, how that it's so common, and that you just the wheel of capitalism keeps just pushing everything. So, but anyway, yeah. So that was kind of my theory, and the little what is it, Mamori? What is it?
Mamoru.
Mamoru. Yeah, that was
Moromi. I'm sorry,
Moromi.
Yeah.
There we go.
That was like almost. I think I had to word this. Sorry, I woke up like right before this podcast. I was late for this podcast, and
dude, I was up and I was having hard times trying to convey what I was saying, but
and I was up till 4:30 this morning finishing these episodes because I forgot I missed the last weeks of watching it with you guys. But anyway, so I thought that that Mamori character was like almost like a metaphor for like distraction in life, where it's like, oh well, like if you try and rely on these things that distractions and not face your real problems, then like once that character's not enough, then you are left with your emptiness, and so you try and kill yourself.
That's a lot what I took away from the Moromi thing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
is mindless media consumption or whatever, just to kind of.
Yeah, I was thinking like entertainment distraction from your real problems.
Reality. Yeah.
And basically, just like procrastinating, facing your real problems, and avoidance is really what I took away from that character. Anyway, but I have no clue if I'm right, because that's like, it didn't really fit with like the animated version of the character for the animator, I guess. Maybe it did, but that was an interesting take. And then the reason also why I thought suicide is because there's that black plague thing that's spreading throughout the city, that smoke. And then there's that wife of the detective that is like fighting it off and deciding to actually face her real problems and not avoid it anymore. And it can't get her. So that's why I thought maybe it's suicide, because she's facing it. And then when she was facing it, and then later on, whenever when the animator at the very end of the show is facing her problems for real, it stopped spreading. That's whenever it was like, and then it would stop and it started like retracting back. So that's why, again, that I thought it was like, if you face your issues, then maybe suicide is
I think that's
overcomable.
I really like that take about the black sludge representing the mass, like depression and like suicide kind of thing.
Yeah, especially if it takes place in Japan, just because I hear that that's like such a
and there's also themes of like overwork in Japan and stuff like that. So
this guy does social commentary really well.
Yeah. Especially if I get it. You guys know me. Like if I get it, we're like, wow, good job. Anyway, but yeah, I think this show's absolutely fantastic. I want to watch it again. I might. It was so good. Great recommendation, Jared. I'm trying to think of the other episodes that I really liked, but it touched on really, really heavy things in different ways. Like with that pervert dad, like that was heavy and dark and creepy. And then
creepy,
yeah, but very creepy. And it touched on triple suicide pact in a very fun way. Like I'm like, what the heck? What?
Like just like a comedy, like a 90s comedy.
Yeah, I was like, I want to see this as like a movie, like a real premise of just that's it. And anyway, so fantastic job. I mean, and animated, oh my gosh, like especially those last 2 episodes, I was like, this is like art in a very real way. So anyways, Carlos, I've talked a long time. What did you think?
I mean, mostly covered most of it. I'm going to be probably the only one that says that I basically kept my same opinion on this, and it's okay. Like, I enjoy it. I wouldn't say it's like absolutely amazing. I do enjoy the themes. I agree with most of the themes you're all talking about, and it does kind of just point to that whole avoidance of responsibility is a big part, because like it in the end, you kind of find out that what's her face is the cause of all of this because she refused to take responsibility for the fact that she let her dog Moromi die because she like did this, but it's it's not just that, but she fabricated a story of her being assaulted and that's how the dog died and not what actually happened. Even though her father knew completely what was going on, um she still decided to live in this fantasy, and this fantasy eventually came back to her as an adult because she was getting overwhelmed, and then she fabricates that same person again. This little slugger that supposedly attacked her as a kid attacks her again as an adult. And then because of her delusion and avoidance of responsibility, she starts spreading this lie that everybody else starts believing in. It's just a giant like mass hallucination kind of style thing, I guess. But I do like the anime. I do. I don't know. There's a lot of times where I feel like it lingers and meanders on certain things a little weirdly and too long that I just don't personally enjoy. There are parts of the anime I'm just like, okay, I get it. Crazy weird shit's happening for the sake of crazy weird shit and trying to get certain points across. I don't know. It's a little too art house for me. I'm not a big fan of that style stuff. Which is weird because like I love like Perfect Blue, but like Perfect Blue is very much more personal. I think because it's in an episodic thing. In this, it's just way more.
Do you
I don't
think
know.
that you like Perfect Blue more because it focuses? It's like you're on the journey with one character as opposed to this.
Yeah.
It's like bouncing between characters.
It's bouncing between characters. Like there are several characters or several stories that I enjoy in this that I would love to see like full fleshed out stories of. But I wouldn't. I hate the changing like it's like, oh well, this happened to this person. Oh, this happened to this person. Oh, one of the worst episodes I personally just absolutely hated was the stupid gossiping one. Like, I get what they were trying to do. Like,
Oh yeah.
it was just so annoying. It's just like, it's just like a bunch of fucking wives just gossiping and making up bullshit stories. And then this one lady would try to make up a story and then they'd be like, oh, that's such a lie. Even though clearly everything they were saying were absolute fucking lies
Yeah.
too. And it's like, I hated that episode so much. It was just annoying to me.
I like how petty they all were. It was funny.
Yeah, they were really
Yeah.
fun characters just because it's like I know some people like that, so it's like, man, like
I think
you know,
that's
they
what
can't help but
irritates me,
gossip.
though.
Like,
Yeah, I think that's why it just irritates
I get
me so
that.
much.
I
Yeah.
liked at the end when the husband gets attacked and she's like, "No, I need more stories."
Yeah.
Tell me how it happened.
It's like, Jesus Christ. And it's kind of like just shows like how this one girl's freaking delusions that she made up to avoid responsibility started spreading out throughout the masses and then caused this whole thing. But it's I don't know. Like I said, I gave this a 6 when I first watched it. Back I probably I think I watched it on Toonami around the same time as Jared did, probably. That was the first time I like started watching it. I don't think I finished it that first time. I think I went back and rewatched the whole thing though.
Okay.
But then I gave it a 6 at that viewing. And then I'd probably still put it there. I think there's just a lot of things that I don't personally like because it's a series. I do like Satoshi's stuff. I don't think his storytelling personally works for me in long form like that. Like in movies, it's amazing. It's really great. It's concise, especially if it's just following this one singular person's like struggle and things they're going through. Freaking amazing. Perfect Blue, Paprika. Those are like some of the best.
so he
films I've
did
ever
Perfect
seen.
Blue as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think you guys told me that, but I forgot.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's I guess my kind of take on it.
Cool.
Y'all mostly said everything else. Oh, also I agree. The suicide episode was probably the best freaking episode. Those characters were way and far. I would watch a series of those three just fucking getting into hijinks because they were amazing. But
oh, sorry.
yeah,
Yeah, you can go ahead, Alex.
I was gonna say that's what I like about the show is it bounces around so much different stuff. Like the episode with the wife is so dark. It's so sad, and same with the girl with the main girl with the dog at the end, and like that's got to be a horrifying situation. Which she bent over and grabbed her stomach, and that's what distracted her from the dog. Like, was that like anxiety?
No. They didn't explain it.
It doesn't explain it. It's just to let you know, it's like she could have tripped, but she technically
let go
because she didn't take responsibility of the fact that she did something and got the dog killed. It's like it doesn't matter if it was her fault or not. It's she didn't take responsibility.
Sure.
She fabricated a whole attack and had her father, who bless his heart, was like, he knew that it wasn't true, but he went along with it. He posted on freaking, like, he called the police. He did this whole charade for her to make her feel validated. And that was honestly on him too, because he should have never played into that delusion.
That's a good point.
Speaking of real Moromi, that was an adorable pup.
Yes, 100%. And that scene with the car, even though it didn't show really show it, I was like, no.
Yeah, Carlos was like crying in that episode.
Yeah, that was rough.
Big old manly tears, like big hulking manly broad-shouldered tears.
I actually do have to disagree with all of you though, because I still think episode 3 was probably the best.
Episode 3 was also amazing. 100%. I agree.
Which one was
it? Because I don't know, just the lady, the tutor, and she's having like the identity crisis.
Yes, 100%. That was such a good episode.
I just don't remember it.
Yeah, I think that this was the one where I had to leave early, and I forgot to rewatch that one. I watched that one back when we did it as a "Would you continue?" So I need to rewatch that.
That episode, if they made a whole like movie or whatever based around like that character, that would be up there.
That's just Perfect Blue too.
Shut up! I know it is.
I like that it was one of the heavier ones and one of the more out there ones, kind of like the later episodes, but they kind of sneak it in way early in the series to be like, yeah, no, this is gonna get dark. This is gonna get weird. It's gonna deal with. It's gonna mess with your perceptions because you're not gonna know what's true and what's not. So they kind of prepare you for it early on with that episode.
Yeah, it really set the tone.
Yeah, so I think it was the perfect episode for
I think I just like personal stories way more than just like overall like stories.
That's true. It's funny because I agree. I feel like I usually way prefer. It's like we talked about. I'm way more of a character person than a plot person usually, and that's what is kind of interesting that I like this so much because I feel like normally I wouldn't. Like I usually like it when we're on a journey with a character and Anyway, but it is interesting that you. I guess it's just from the perspective I have, but I really didn't ever feel like it was actually her creation of Little Slugger that was causing all this. I felt like it was more. I mean, the show basically says that. You're right. It says like that everyone is referring to it as Little Slugger, but I guess I thought that it's almost like she discovered and put out into the world like she pulled an inception of like this idea of how to blame something for your. Instead of taking responsibility. And it's like, it's something people could grasp. We're like, oh, yep, Little Slugger. Yep. That's what I want. Mm-hmm. And
I mean,
it's interesting. So I didn't really blame her. It's almost like she just voiced something. She personified something for everyone to use that they were already going to use anyway.
Yeah. And you're right. But it's kind of one of those things is like, because she held it to be so true. And I guess even like the guy, he's like talking. He's like, you're the cause of this. He's like, you need to face reality, and you kept going into your delusions. And because your delusion was so fed into by your dad and then everybody else, and then when you did it when you're older, everybody else started feeding into this, and it just became this huge like pandemic of where everybody else could take that thing she created and use it for themselves. So
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're all in agreement. 9 out of 10. Got it.
9 out of 10.
11 out of 10.
6 out of 10.
So that's still an average of like
9.5.
8 out of 10. I think that's pretty good.
I mean, that's actually I think what it's like my anime list rating is. Like
Yeah.
8.
So, but
Like,
no, I
couple note. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead. I was gonna say I do agree with Carl. So there's some points where I felt like I was like you could tell the writers like purposefully obfuscating what's actually going on with certain episodes and stuff, and I'm like, okay, at this
Mhm.
point you're just you were allowed to stretch your legs a bit, and now you're just kind of wandering. But
Yeah.
I do like that kind of storytelling, so it doesn't
Mm.
bother me nearly as much. And I tend to like, well, I mean, you know, Guy Ritchie films were always known for that, like 20 stories that you don't know how they connect until the end kind of thing. I love that. But I do see where that pops up sometimes, and it's not super clean. So I'll give you that, Carlos, at least.
Hmm.
But I
Oh,
love it.
interesting. It's actually a 7.6 on my anime
People keep
list.
giving it 6 as the jerks.
Gross. It's a 10 out of 10.
All right, sorry, Jared. I did not mean to distract.
Oh no, I was just segue things. I was just gonna say a couple quick notes on
Ooh.
that episode with the two guys and the little girl.
Yeah.
That dude I'm looking at the episode list. That dude is looking like a Benjamin Franklin and Play
Yeah.
Heroes, dude. He's
Yes.
hilarious.
I do
Oh
want
my
to go back
God.
and actually see what they said in the chat rooms and stuff. I really wish
Yeah.
they had translated.
Like when I watched it back I feel like when I watched it back on Adult Swim, they had it.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
I don't know why. And then the episode with the junior detective being like Batman. I forget it's called Radar Man.
Yes,
Radar
Man.
Man.
Awesome.
Radar Man.
Jesus.
And he's like
Alright.
using his like glasses to like
Yeah, it's-
get the radar down or whatever. I don't know. So awesome.
all right. So I'm glad we watched that, and that's a pretty good discussion about it. Alex picked up a lot of things in that.
Who would have thunk, man? Who would have thunk?
I am shocked.
He came out swinging.
I guess if a show just grabs me, then I can pay attention.
If it's good,
Yeah.
because I still don't think he remembers what happened in Angel Beats.
No.
No, I don't even.
Certainly
Angel
no.
Beats is amazing.
Apparently, I have a trash filter, and I don't pick up anything if trash goes through it.
Oh, that's not true because you completely admitted you loved a show and couldn't remember a single thing about it. So I forgot which one it was recently. Yeah, no.
Why would I love a show I
recently.
didn't remember?
It's called Harry Potter. You can't remember a fucking thing.
I remember everything.
No.
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and give Angel Beats a 1. Let's go on to Cowboy Bebop. Yay!
Yeah.
So yeah, the last episode we decided to watch Cowboy Bebop for a long form anime, and so we're gonna tell you about the 12 that we watched. We started off with Asteroid Blues, and we're introduced to Spike.
Spike
And-
Spiegel.
I mean, Cowboy Bebop, 10 out of 10. Every episode, 10 out of 10. I don't even know
Every
if I'm talking
episode-
about this. It's just 10 out of 10.
They
We're
have
not
a
talking about this. You're introducing it.
I do think that Cowboy Bebop does character introductions better than most things I've seen. Just
Yeah.
it gets
But
like
Soul
this is
Eater
who
introductions,
this
man.
character is. Soul Eater doesn't do it as subtle. Cowboy Bebop just like this is the person in their natural element. It's gold.
Cowboy Bebop has this he does a really good job of being like, this world already exists. We're throwing you in it.
Yeah.
Whereas
yeah.
Soul Eater is definitely
Checking it
like,
out.
hey, let's purposefully, intentionally introduce you to these characters. But Bebop feels
Organic.
like it is happening. There's things that have happened that you missed before it starts, and this world will continue. after the show's over. So anyway,
Yeah.
I think what Cowboy Bebop does too very well is like every world they go to, you could just like feel the history of that world when they go there. Like you can feel like it's been lived in, and just like
Things
I don't know.
happened there.
Yeah, there's like I said, there's just history there. But this first episode is the one where Spike and Jet are going after, what is that guy's name? Asimov.
Asimov,
Yeah.
And he's got the bloody eye drug, and Spike kind of like pickpockets him, and so now he's got it. And he's first he talks to Asimov's girlfriend, and like they kind of just have a chat, and then this happens a lot with these characters. They always talk to the bounties like themselves, or like their significant other, and then they kind of like feel bad when they have to take them in. And but no, I think this is a pretty strong first episode, because you fully get like Spike's character in this first episode. He's just like this cool, like doesn't just kind of go with the flow kind of character.
Very
And
confident.
then you also see like this dude does have a heart. Like he feels for Asimov's girlfriend because she just wants to get away to Mars and live like a normal life. But this dude is just high out of his mind on bloody eye, and he can't stop, and he's willing to like die for whatever he's trying to do for his plans. But yeah, I think, and just like the art and animation of the show, I have to say, is amazing.
it is.
Yeah.
It really is.
The next episode, we're introduced to another character. This one's called Stray Dog Strut. We're introduced to Ein. Well, at first they're going after this guy. He has a stolen briefcase. We don't know what's in there. We just know that this company really wants it back. And so he's trying to catch up with this. Spike's trying to catch up with this guy and get the briefcase back for the bounty. And we find out what's in there, because they've been like, oh man, we need to get this. There's like so much data in there. We got to just get it. There's a little Welsh corgi in there. And one of the cutest little dogs ever. He's just
one of the best characters.
And then I just love like the whole chase sequence with him, the dude that stole the briefcase, and Ein, and they're just like trying to catch this dog, and he's just like evading them and making them look stupid.
Why
this
is
pretty
the dog
much
the smartest character?
this pretty much culminates with them just they now own Ein. He's now a member of the Bebop.
Yep.
The third episode is Honky Tonk Women, which are introduced to the fourth member, Faye Valentine. And this one's pretty much the casino episode. Like we're introduced to Faye, and like she's supposed to give this chip, this casino chip, which is disguised as, I forget what it's disguised as. I think it's information as well, or
yeah,
no,
I think it's like
key.
it's like I thought it was like a data key or something.
Yeah.
And then it's disguised as a poker chip. Or
but Faye mistakenly gives it to Spike because she thinks it's the guy that she's supposed to give it to. And then so now now the casino owner is after Spike and the Bebop. And then we're introduced to Faye as a character, which how do you guys feel about Faye?
I was literally just thinking about that, because I feel like
I love Faye. She's awesome.
she's
Go ahead.
I definitely like her character, like where it goes, like her story arc.
Yeah. It's one of the best story arcs by far.
but as like a first off character, she's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't really think too much at this point, but definitely her arc is really cool.
I strongly appreciate just how much she fucks over everyone else in the crew. She is more trouble than she's worth, and it's fantastic. Like everything about that, like, you know, usually when you have an ensemble cast, they're like, all right, everyone gonna get along, we're gonna be no. She's in it for herself always, and it's amazing. So I don't know. I do like just everyone in the crew kind of having this very strong independent personality and stuff. She really kind of typifies that because she never really considers herself part of the crew, at least not for the whole first half.
Yeah, that's I can't remember where her story goes, but I think that I'm excited with where it can go because I feel like if it was this entire show, I think she would annoy me more because I think she's a good character. I think it's very fun, but it's like in stories like that where it's like you seem to have growth between these characters, and then it's like, you know, it reverts back to zero with betrayal. And if that keeps happening, that type of thing drives me crazy because I'm like, well, why are we? Where's the development in the story with these characters if it just always reverts back to zero? So I'll be curious because if it doesn't, because I really don't remember the second half of the show. It's been many years. That could actually be really strong, where it's like she actually could, but I don't know, be a part of the crew kind of thing. But we'll just have to see because that can be irritating to me if it's just the same thing. But
yeah,
but I do like her. She like Chris said, she's very fun because she's very capable at conning and screwing people over. So,
and I agree with you. She's the typical character that would annoy me, but for some reason Faye doesn't. I guess just the way she's written.
Played very well, yeah.
Yeah.
The fourth episode is Gateway Shuffle. This is the one with the eco-terrorists. And this is the one where they have that weapon that turns humans into monkeys or reverts them back, like de-evolves them. This all started because they were trying to protect these little otter things. I forget what they're called, but they're kind of adorable.
Yeah, in the bad guy's defense, they are cute as a button.
I like how they have the little hats on when they're like doing their terrorism. Not much. I don't have much to say about this episode, but let's go on to the fifth episode, Ballad of Fallen Angels. This is the first time we see Vicious, and we get a little hint at Spike's background. You definitely know that, like, the way they set up Vicious is like last bad guy RPG Sephiroth.
Yes.
He's got a freaking evil crow on his shoulder.
Like he is, like you're like
he went to supervillain
at
school.
him saying bad guy.
He's still using a katana for some reason. You're like, dang, this guy's got class and style. And,
yeah, Chris, he's got like Vegeta's pink shirt that just says "bad guy" on the back.
But no, I think Vicious is really cool. I like how they kind of slowly give you information about their backstory. This one, you pretty much just know that they knew each other and something went down.
And they do not like each other.
Yeah, and they're ready to kill each other for it. But I think this is a really cool episode. And then you see how scary Vicious can actually be. And like Faye meets him and she's just terrified of this dude. So I think he's a really strong bad guy. I think like this era of like anime, it's like him, Knives, and someone I'm forgetting, but they're just such cool bad guys. Because I love bad guys that are just bad guys. I hate sympathizing with bad guys. I'm like, I don't care about your backstory. I don't care who wronged you. I love bad guys that love being evil and just
because I'm fucking evil.
I do like both. I do think, if you write them well, just this pure, like, unrepentant villain is just really satisfying. And he is. Like, I'm the worst.
The sixth episode is Sympathy for the Devil. This is one of my favorite ones. This is the one with the little boy, and he's pushing around the older gentleman, and it's kind of odd. And like the kid just starts talking smack, and you're like, "The hell's wrong with this kid?" And you find out he's like 3 generations old. He's like should be like 80 or 100 or something like that. But
yeah, he's insanely old.
But this episode is so cool. Like he shoots him in the face, and he's like, "Whatever," and then he shoots. And then they have to figure out like, oh, we gotta put this crystal or whatever into a bullet, and then he finally like ages up to what he should be, and then he just withers away and dies. And then he's looking like those kids from Acura at the end because he's all like blue and crusty. And then we go on to episode 7, Heavy Metal Queen. This is the one where Spike meets I forget her name. They call her like VT. Yeah. I forget her real name, but she's just this trucker lady. She's like this cool trucker lady. You're like, man, that chick's kind of cool. Like, she knows everybody. And then they're always trying to figure out what VT stands for. And she's got this like huge stack of money because everyone can't get it. She meets Spike. Spike kind of reminds her of someone she knew, and she finds out that he's a bounty hunter, and she kind of has this weird, like aversion to, or like she hates bounty hunters, and you find out that's because her husband was a bounty hunter and he died doing it, and so she's kind of, I guess, I don't know a right word for it, kind of bitter about it. But I really enjoy this episode. I like the dynamic between VT and Spike. Just these two cool characters doing cool space things.
Cool.
And they also like respect each other. 8th episode is Waltz for Venus. What is this one? Do you guys?
Waltz for It was literally, I was just about to ask.
Oh, okay. This is the one where they go to Venus and Spike meets this guy that's like, he's like this punk dude. He's really annoying he's really annoying like on the flight. He's really loud and obnoxious.
He's a 2-bit criminal. He's a petty thief at best.
And he tries to, I think, pickpocket Spike, and he just evades him, and he's like, dude, teach me your ways.
That's right. Okay.
I want to learn the ways. I want to learn the ways of Spike. And he's like, no. But this is another one where like Spike is like, he finds out that this is a bounty, but he's already built this relationship with this dude. He kind of feels for this dude.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to, they have a meeting place, and he goes there and he meets his sister, and she's blind due to this virus on Venus. And what I think his name is Bruno or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Rocco. I was way off. He had something with him that everyone was trying to get, and what it is this plant that can actually help with this virus. But this mob boss is just trying to get it for money.
So he can grow more of it.
Yeah. And so there's this huge shootout at the end where the gang finally catches up to Rocco, and they're trying to get that plant back. And the dude during the fight actually like takes what Spike told him about fighting and stuff like that and use it against a couple crooks. But unfortunately he gets shot, and he's like, did I go out a hero? And Spike's like, I guess.
I guess. I mean, sure you did, you little tyke.
Little buddy, you're going.
Ruffled his hair, throws a coin on his chest, walks away.
I thought a cool part about this was like Rocco had some these crystals that he left with his sister, so she'd be taken care of if this ever did happen. So there's always like super like heartfelt points to these episodes. Like the show has a ton of heart.
And it's always especially sucky because usually they die.
Yeah.
Like the lifespan of the characters in this show is really low.
And then I guess we got to talk about episode 9, Jamming with Edward.
The best episode.
We're introduced to Edward.
Finally.
Jared's like, all right, episode 10.
I was hoping that like Charles would chime in. This is his favorite character, but
I mean,
I know. I want you to kind of go over why the hell you don't like the best character in the show.
I don't like her. I don't feel anything towards her. I don't understand why Carlos loves her. Well, I do now because
she's fun. She's
basically Carlos.
She's a tech geek, and her best friend's a corgi. She is me.
But this episode was pretty cool. It's like this satellite is hacked by hackers, and like it has like a super laser on it, and so they kind of
it wasn't actually hacked.
Well, then tell us.
Don't.
I mean, okay. So everybody's trying to figure out who hacked this satellite that has like lasers and stuff that started drawing the Nazca lines on another planet. Was it Earth or was it just?
It was Earth.
It was Earth. Yeah. So it redrew the Nazca lines on the planet, and everybody's like, "What hacker did this?" Ed hacks into the satellite, finds out that it's an old AI system that hasn't been connected to anything, that's slowly been just learning things on its own through like its network connection, and it's become semi-sentient, and she kind of makes a friend of it. It's a really cute story. I like this one.
Yeah, like I said, every episode has heart. This freaking satellite's adorable.
I know, right?
Dang, I forgot what I was gonna say, but yeah, that's how we're introduced to Ed. The 10th episode is Ganymede. Ganymede Elegy.
Elegy.
Yeah, Elegy. Which one is this?
Is that the one where?
Oh, this is Jet's episode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you go. Oh, what I was gonna say about the last episode, I like how you're so far in the future. Like people hate Earth. They're like, yeah, you're going to Earth, and like,
it's like what that shithole.
Yeah. Anyway, episode 10 is Jet's episode. Okay, so I always say, man, this is the episode that I don't like. I guess in my older age, I was like, this one's not too bad. I kind of like this episode now.
I liked it a lot, actually.
Yeah.
It was
just as a kid. Just as a kid, it slows it down quite a bit, and especially I always say this: if you see Big O, there's an exact episode with the exact type of character in that show, so you're kind of seeing the same episode. But
I already seen this episode in Big O.
So I do actually really like this episode, but I do have to admit that episode could have been 5 minutes long if any of it had taken like 5 seconds longer just to talk. Everybody's like, no, I'm going to be stoic. And it just like stretched the whole plot out.
It definitely has a noir feel to it.
Yeah.
And
a Western feel, like when he goes into the bar and it's like, hey, you're the girl that broke my heart.
I mean, the whole thing's a space Western, so.
True.
And then we're all like kind of weird. We're all a little weirded out at the age difference between Jet and his ex.
Yeah, what do we find out? It was like 9 years or something.
Yeah, it was not that much, but honestly, he looks like he could be her daddy.
Yeah, he looks about 15 years older, and she looks about 5 years younger than their respective ages.
I'm sure that's what he called her, or she called him.
No, he called her daddy.
Some issues.
Episode 11 is Toys in the Attic, which is a fan favorite. Basically, this blob is just attacking the Bebop, and it's making everyone sick. And you're like, they're all like, "What the hell is going on?"
The hell is this alien thing?
It's like the Thing, but Cowboy.
Yeah, it's very much like Alien, but Cowboy Bebop style. And we find out it was because Spike had some mushrooms that he saved from a trip in the
No,
fridge.
it was a lobster, wasn't it?
Oh, it was
Yeah,
a
it was like-
lobster.
Rock
Yeah.
lobster specifically.
Rock
Oh yeah.
So I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
rock lobster. I got real excited.
Left
But it's been in the fridge for like a year. And I love that when he finally goes to the fridge and he's just like
That's
freaking out. He
awesome.
opens it. It's like,
He's like, oh, closes it immediately. He's like, trying to get it to the fucking purge hatch.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah,
"Yup, this
Everybody's
fridge."
like
He's
dying.
He's like, "This fridge has got to go."
I like how extreme that scene is. Like he's just trying to get it out the like escape hatch,
Yeah.
and like it's just so intense, and it's just because of leftover food in the fridge.
Everybody gets hit by it except for Ed, who ends up eating it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Eats it like a pudding.
God.
And then we get to our 12th episode where we stopped is Jupiter Jazz Part 1. This is the episode with the famous puffy jacket and Spike saying, "You think I own money or you think I have money?"
Yeah,
Do I look like I have money?
Yeah.
You can buy that jacket now from what is it? Target?
Nice.
And then we get even more hints at Spike and Vicious's past. Because now we know there's a Julia. So they've probably been fighting over a girl.
And her last name's Ghoulia.
We don't know exactly what happened between all three of them, but we get a little more clues. It was funny, or it's not funny, but it's like this is the first time Spike gets like super like mad or like intense because Edward just mentions the name Julia and he's like, "What did you just say?"
Yeah.
He's just like going crazy.
He almost chokes her and she's like, ah, ah.
And then there's that fight scene in that alleyway that's super dope.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that. Like, he's just like anyone who mentions Julie is just beating the crap out of them.
Yeah.
Dare you say that name? That's my mother's name.
And then we always knew that Spike is a capable fighter and just like super capable, but like he just takes out those fools like nothing.
Like nothing, yeah.
And they're just like crying at the end, like, why did you hurt him so bad? And then Faye is introduced to a character. Does not say the name right here, but
saxophone person.
Yeah, but
Individual?
you find out that character has ties to
Vincent
Vicious.
Vicious,
So
yeah.
maybe a colleague or like a partner. So their paths may cross. So we'll have to find out in Jupiter Jazz Part 2.
Heck yeah.
But so far, 12 episodes, all 10. It's crazy.
Really good.
I'm a little biased. I love Cowboy Bebop. So how does it feel rewatching it, Alex?
So if people don't know, I kind of, Michael, my brother and I watched this like probably a decade ago. Well, no, it's not that long ago, but we watched it a long time ago. And we were both, the important thing to remember is that we had the expectations coming in. Like we were expecting something story-wise, like totally revolutionary or something. I don't know. And it just wasn't what we expected. We were bored for most of the show. Like I remember it starting really strong and ending strong, and then the whole middle was really boring. So I went in this time purposely knowing that, obviously, and then also purposely like, I think there was like a moment like the third or fourth episode where I might have started getting bored, and I was like about to pull out my phone, and I was like, wait, no. I'm going to give this a real shot and really try to appreciate for what it is. And I got to say, this time around, like I'm loving it so far. Like we're halfway through, and I think this show is like exceptional. Like if you go in like kind of like knowing what each episode is going to be and how that you're okay with like the meandering, but it actually kind of it meanders, but also expresses kind of this theme in a way at the same time. I don't know what that theme is. I just feel like I'm picking up on it, And this show is also, I think what I'm going to start doing, I always say this type of stuff, but I really would like to do this, is I think I would like to watch the 3 episodes we watch every week the night before by myself and then watch it with you guys. Because I feel like the show is best watching by yourself. And because I was watching them last night and it hit me, I was like, this show's a very meditative show. And like some of the shots are just like, there's a shot of like a jet in one of the episodes where there's like this circular door in the ship and it like opens or I can't remember. It's just like gorgeous. And I was just like, it was probably in his episode, but yeah, it's very much like, it's kind of like it's shot like this animated show should not be shot this well. It sounds funny to say shot this well. It's animated, but like the shots feel very, cinematic in a live
very
action
well
way.
framed.
Yeah, like the composition of the shots they're stunning. Like I'm kind of blown away by the show so far, and I want to go back through and watch all the episodes we've watched. That way, I will have watched it all twice. But then I want to continue doing that, watching the episodes before we watch them, because I also feel like I'll just catch and remember more. But yeah, I think going in with a different mindset this time, and I'm really appreciating it for what people wanted, because Michael and I tend to usually don't like wasted time with our shows. We like a story that is really trying to say something. Michael always says he wants his stories to be intentional, and I think the show is just not in the typical like story of like, all right, we're constantly moving towards this goal. It's intentionally expressing this theme and this like these characters,
but
throughout, through like interstitial, like it's almost like
honestly, that's kind of how ironically enough, Paranoia Agent is too. It always has a centralized theme and this thing that it's trying to get across to you. It's just the meat of it, what you're seeing and dealing with changes, but all of the background stuff is still towards this greater idea of what it's trying to tell.
Funnily enough, like the show's intro is something I've always loved, because I always loved everything about the show except for the story, because I thought it meandered too much. But going in this time, like it's funny because the show is kind of like jazz, like the opening, like it's kind of just like experimenting and trying to express something with exploration. And because that's all jazz is, and that's all the show is. It's like, let's explore these characters through different scenarios, different, moods, different whatever. And like, especially in that 12th episode, I was like, this episode is absolutely exceptional. Like the animation, the characters, and I don't know, I feel like I'm understanding the show a lot better the second time. And yeah, I think this is a Toy Story 3 moment for me, where I thought Toy Story 3 sucked. And then I rewatched it again and I was like, no, this movie's really good. So it's important keeping an open mind, kids, because I feel like I'm appreciating this a lot more for what it is this time around. So I'm excited to continue it.
Awesome.
Nice.
Christopher?
That was the whole goal.
Yeah. Christopher,
That was his intentions.
Are you enjoying it, I guess?
No, he hates it.
We lost him. He's gone.
He's dead.
He's not talking to us.
He just
He
laughs.
just giggles.
He just laughs. All right. Jared?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't hear who you said. I thought you were asking Jared again.
Oh, I said Christopher.
Oh, well, stop saying my name weird.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, I couldn't tell who it was by the weird star at the end.
But no, I am liking it. I especially like the latest episode because it's like, it was this perfect combination of, okay, here's like the central plot, here's a seriousness, but then there's also a scene where, he beats up everyone in a puffy pink jacket just out of pure rage. So
sometimes you gotta beat people up in a pink puffy jacket.
Yeah.
Do I
Get your
look
point
like I got
across.
money?
So let's go on to the last segment and see what we've been watching in the meantimes.
All right.
Let's start with Alex.
I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's a single anime I'm watching outside of these two. So
Wow, really?
let's go to Chris.
I'm trying to finish Call of the Night, and that's about it right now. I'm not watching much.
Who are you passing it to?
Let's go, Carlos. Get that out the way.
So I'm continuing My Hero, which is amazing. Just got done watching Oramichi Oni-san, and that is the most nihilistic, hilarious anime ever. Is so good. I checked out Girl from the Other Side. They abridged the shit out of that, so I'm just gonna stick
Yeah.
with the manga. I watched 2 episodes. There's only
that's a
3
bummer.
though, so yeah, they super abridged it. Like straight up, the second episode got to about like the 5th, 6th manga, and I was like, whoa.
I listened to this
The
series.
art translated well. Sorry.
The art is actually really good. Huh?
Sorry, I listened to this book series one time and I figured out later that it was abridged, and I was like, that's why I didn't understand anything. And ever since then, I've hated even the word abridged, except for Dragon Ball abridged. And
Which is amazing.
which is amazing. But yeah, I don't understand things being abridged. Sorry. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just to get you interested, because the art style really is just completely different than anything you're gonna like see most days. And it's so good. To Your Eternity is still continuing, and I am absolutely loving that. It is great. Let's see. I've been watching Nier Automata. Well, mostly. I watched the first 3 episodes, then they took a massive break because I think COVID ended up hitting really hard again, so they had to.
I've heard a couple of studios have had to.
Yeah, they had to actually like stop production for a bit to deal with like how many sick people they were having. So that's picking back up though again, thank God. Trigun Stampede is, I don't know how to say this. It is really good. It is not quite what Trigun I remember, but it is still really good. And the animation is solid as fuck. Like for the new 3D animation that they're doing, it looks good. It's amazing. I just recently gave the English version a try. I did like that, so I might continue it in English because it is Johnny Young Bosch again doing Vash. Although he's much more mature now, and it's not quite. And the story tone is very much darker than the original, especially early on. Like it does get dark in Trigun like later on, but like the tone of this one is very light for like a bit of the first episode, but then it's quickly goes very dark. So that's been pretty good. I think I'm actually, yeah, no, because I stopped Ghost Game. I think that's pretty much it. Can't think of anything else I've been watching. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Carlos is a fool. We've been watching Boichi the Rock.
Oh yeah, we did watch Boichi the Rock. Yeah, that show's great. We're like 6 episodes into that. It's great.
Yeah, that is a solid episode or anime. The only gripe I would have with it is it takes 6 episodes to get to the Rock.
Jeez.
Before then, it's just Boichi.
It's
It's
just
very
Boichi.
appreciation of music and rock, but you
Yeah.
don't actually see or hear a lot of it till episode 5.
Yeah. Also the main character is like it's a really interesting insight, especially as not an introvert, seeing like how well they like put into words and like emotions of an introverted like person trying to do this extroverted thing, and it is amazing.
He's definitely like at 100% introvert, but as like a somewhat introvert myself, I relate quite a bit. There's a scene where like she's kind of stressing out about walking into where they practice because she's kind of new to it. She doesn't know if it's actually she doesn't know if it's actually open, and like so she's kind of freaking out. Do I wait 10 minutes? Do I do I go in? Do I just barge in? And I was like, I definitely have done. I do that a lot. Like honestly, like every time I go into a place.
And for me, I was just like, why the fuck is she not going in? I'll wait 5 minutes. You know, let's wait 10 minutes. Make it 20.
And her
30.
band
30 will work. It's like, what
And then
are you
it's like
doing?
It's like downstairs the entrance, so the band members are just watching her and like, what the heck is she doing? But
It
no,
is.
the animation I will say is amazing because she was doing an F chord. I was like, oh, she's doing an F chord.
Huh.
And then like 10 seconds later, she's like, I can't play this F chord. And I was like, oh. I was like, dang, the attention to detail is quite amazing.
Also, her expressions are like gold.
And it does so there's a character, it subverted my expectations because the drummer character, I thought she was going to be loud, annoying, and she's the most level-headed one out of them. And I said that was a little weird. I was like, the drummer's no way the most level-headed.
That never happens.
But I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, she's a well-written character.
Although the bassist is growing on me too. She's fucking hilarious.
She's just a bassist though, so don't really.
Wow.
I've been doing bassist jokes
the whole time.
And Carl's like, "Why are you so mean to basses?" And I was like, "It's just a thing. It's just a thing we do."
I was a bassist. Is this why you're so mean to me?
Yes.
Or Jared, you need to go watch Mongolian Chop Squad. The bassist is by far like the most talented guy in their group.
Oh no, shit! They're all the bassists in this are talented. They're bassists.
They're bassists. It's not that bar's not that hard.
Can't even hear them. What does it matter? But
part of me feels like I need to watch this. The other part of me feels like it would just make me super anxious.
It's so good.
No, I think it would like definitely as a person with like anxiety
a bit.
And like introverted, it kind of shows you like how it's all mostly in your head and how people really don't think, because she's always like, oh, people are gonna hate this or gonna get mad because I'm doing this, but people really don't care.
Yeah, what she sees she projects a lot of things of what her, like, you see a lot of what her expectations are, and then it's just like the actual thing, and you're just like, oh yeah.
Like a good example is the drummer's older sister is the manager of this club that they play in, and she's like, she sees like Boichi as she is, and so she's like, I need to compliment her because she's actually really good, and she doesn't know it, so I should go compliment her, but she's kind of like reserved herself, not reserved, but like she's not good at giving compliments. So she just walks up to her, and she's already freaking out because she's walking up to her, and she's like, I see you. And she freaks out. She's like, "What? She's mad at me. She's gonna.
She's watching me." It's so good.
So
she starts freaking out. Like, oh god, oh god, oh god.
It's very relatable, I would say, if you're an introvert. Even if you're not at like 100% like Boichi, but
right.
These characters are great. And like,
my god.
They'll introduce characters, like we were just introduced to a character. She was awesome. Like she was another bassist, but she is like,
she's amazing.
She's a crazy. To her, like those are bassists I like. She's like a Victor Wooten almost. Like she's just like crazy good.
And she'll tell you about her cycle of happiness.
But no, I'm really enjoying this anime. It's pretty good. I've definitely wanted an anime like this since like K-On! So
it's really good.
And then I've been watching, like, just keeping up with My Hero.
Been really good.
I also finished Uramichi no Ni-san. That one is very cynical, but it does have nuggets of like heart in it.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't know if we've described it, but what it's about is like a Steve from a Blue's Clues. Like he's this child.
Oh yeah, that one.
He's the host of this child show. I guess it's not like that because the children are actually on studio, but
Yeah.
He has to interact with children every day, and like he's very jaded. He's very like he hates his work. He hates going to work. He hates like just. He's very upset with where his life is turned because he was like this.
Oh, sorry. Go.
He's like this gold medal gymnast. Like, he's like super fit. He's always like exercising and stuff like that. But he's just doing this kids show, and but you do get glimpses of like his heart. Like, there's this part where this kid comes up to him. He's like, "Hey, my dad's he actually got off for your next like concert thing, so we can't wait to see you." And he gets all choked up and starts crying, and then like every time a kid just says something nice to him, he starts crying because he's so moved, and he's actually doing it because he cares about these kids.
Yeah.
And then a big drawback was like you get these towards the end because there's this last episode where you see him and his co-stars who are actually roommates back in college, and like you see like he was a very like keeps to himself kind of guy. Even back then, he didn't talk to his roommates that much, but one of them gets hurt, and he's like, "Oh, that's nothing. I don't need to go see a doctor." And he's like, "You should really go check that out." And like he gives him a card to his doctor, and like so you see it like he does have heart. He's just super jaded by life, and but. A big plus of this show is like those two characters, his old roommates, are always in a bear and a bunny costume for the show, and so a lot of this dialogue is spoken through that like them as a bear and a bunny. It's hilarious. It's so funny
because they're giving off these like
just that additional
conversations, and then you're looking at them, they're fucking in a bunny suit. You're just like, God damn it. It's so good.
But I love these animes where it's not about like. Definitely as an older guy, it's not about high schoolers. You get to see like people in the workforce and stuff like that, and just like where they are in their lives at 30. And like there's one character that's like with this boyfriend, and her boyfriend never like she's ready for like a proposal, and he's terrible. And then there's like this man child, like this airhead man child that's just like this poor guy he's like perfect at everything he tries.
Everything,
but he is such an airhead. Like people are trying. Like there's this the manager of the studio, his daughter.
Genuinely,
they're like at a party, and she's like trying to get with him, and she gives him some champagne, and he's like, "Oh, I've never drinking before." And she's like, "Oh, that's all right." And so she gives him the champagne, so she's trying to take advantage of him. So the dude in the bear suit's like, "Do you have any non-alcoholic
champagne?"
Champagne. He's like, "Yeah," and he like switches it out real fast.
Gives it to him because this lady's like basically trying to take him home.
Yeah,
because he's a singer, model, like super perfect guy, but he is just naive, insanely naive. I fucking love him. He's probably my favorite character. Oh, also, very, very, very lowbrow comedy just fucking kills him. Like Orimichi will fuck with him. He'll walk by him and be like, "Penis," and he'll just like, and just like cracking up like crazy.
There's this one episode where he's in the supermarket, and he overhears this guy talking on the phone with his wife. He's like, "What do you want tonight? Hard salami?" And he's just like, "Oh."
And he just starts losing it in the middle of a fucking supermarket. It's amazing.
But this was a very pleasant surprise. I really did like this anime. Felt like it went on forever. It felt like we watched it for like a month, but it's a 12 episode. But I really enjoyed it. I'm trying to think if I've watched anything else. I don't think so, and if I did, I can't remember. But that's all I've been watching.
We finished Uzuki-chan before last podcast, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Well, that was a good episode of talking about anime. I hope you guys join us for the next one.
Oh, we're gonna announce the.
Oh yeah, whose turn
Oh
is it?
yeah, whose turn is it?
I think it's mine, maybe, but we'll check.
Okay, before this,
Check real quick.
Yeah.
didn't you choose Angel Beats though?
I mean, yeah.
So then it wouldn't be your turn. That was last time, right? Or was that 2 times
No,
ago?
Angel
We
Beats
did
was-
Priority Egg before or after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wonder Egg
Oh.
was just before this one.
Yeah.
You remember we went from one mindfuck to another.
So is it mine?
Might be yours, Alex.
Yeah, it might be yours. It's either mine or yours.
I'm gonna make sure.
Oh man.
You are not prepared if it's yours,
I'm
are you?
definitely not prepared. Although Ari told me about a show. What's that anime you recommend?
You're messaging him right now.
Yes.
Call him up. Be like, hey, you're guest starring on our
So,
podcast.
Girls Last Tour, then Angel Beats, then
Oh.
Wonder Egg, then mine. So it is your turn, Alex.
Oh, so it is
Yeah.
me. Okay, crap.
And I think Ari was talking about Boichi the Rock last time we
yeah.
were talking about anime.
What?
Because he
Yeah,
mentioned
I
it
think it
as
was.
sketching.
Yeah, but The Rock. Crap. You guys just watched that. Well,
I mean,
unfortunately, I guess we don't have it ready for you guys. So, do we have a Twitter or something we can let people know? Nobody
We don't
listens to
have
this anyway. So, like,
I'll tell Josh once I get to work on Monday.
there we go. Our one listener that works with you guys. There we go. I'll look into what I want to watch and then I'll
Our,
let you guys know.
What about our German fan base? How are they going to find
Yeah.
out?
Yeah. How are German fans going to know?
They're bots.
Well, we need to worry about our Brazilian fan base because
Oh,
we actually
shoot.
have one.
Then we have to watch
Shoot,
Jujutsu Kaisen.
No, that
Brazilian
means we need to
Jiu-Jitsu.
watch Digimon then.
Oh,
like
God,
they
it's-
will be hyped for
Anyway,
that. We will build
well, at least we're
an
watching.
empire.
You know, we're watching
Ooh,
Cowboy
Digimon.
Bebop. We're gonna finish it next time, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so at least we know
And we
that.
know it's Alex's turn, so.
Yeah.
What did you say, Chris?
My only request is that we also watch the movie because I've been
Yes.
wanting to watch that again.
Yes. I don't think I
Yeah,
ever
let's
saw
watch
it.
the movie.
So
The movie's
okay.
amazing.
All right. Sweet. So we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.